FC Barcelona's manager Hansi Flick just gave his approval for Barca to sign the defender. What if I told you that one of the most experienced, most traveled, most underrated fullbacks in world football is about to become a permanent fixture at one of the biggest clubs on the planet? If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we are getting into the details today, right? First things first. Let's talk about where Barcelona actually are right now because context is everything in football. Joan Laporta has just been re-elected as president of FC Barcelona. 2 weeks ago, the votes were counted, the result came in, and it was confirmed Laporta is staying. And with him staying, the entire structure at the club stays in place. That means Deco, the director of football, remains at the helm of transfer operations. Love him or hate him, Deco is the man making the big calls in the market. But here's where it gets interesting. Because of this structure steps Hansi Flick. The German manager came in, and there's an energy about this team that wasn't there before. And now Flick is being consulted on transfer targets. His opinion matters. His green light means something. And the first major signal he sent? He wants Joao Cancelo. Permanently. Okay, let's talk about Cancelo himself, because his journey over the last couple of years has been nothing short of wild. Barcelona took him some years ago, and then he ended up in Saudi Arabia at Al Hilal. Felt to a lot of observers like a decline, like a top player slowly drifting away from the elite level and cashing in on a big contract in the Gulf. But here's the thing. Cancelo has come back to Barcelona this season on loan. And while the start was slow, honestly, it took a while for him to find his rhythm. Something has clicked in recent weeks, and Flick has noticed. After Barcelona's win over Rayo Vallecano, he said, and I'm quoting here, "I want to congratulate him because his performance was incredible, especially in the second half. He gave his all for the team and wanted to continue until the end because he was so focused on the game." Now, managers say nice things about their players all the time. That's part of the job. But when a manager follows up kind words with an actual green light for a permanent transfer, that tells a different story. That tells you this isn't just flattery. Flick genuinely believes in what Cancelo brings to this team. Let me break down why Flick is so convinced, because it's not just about Cancelo being a good footballer. It's about what he offers within a specific tactical framework. Flick likes to use his fullbacks in sophisticated ways. Whether it's inverting them into midfield, pushing them high up the pitch in wide areas, or using them as an extra passing option in the build-up, his system demands fullbacks who can think, who can process the game quickly, and who can be trusted with the ball under pressure. Cancelo ticks every single one of those boxes. The man has played in almost every top league in Europe. He's played under some of the greatest managers of his generation. He understands positional football at the highest level. And crucially, he can play on both sides. Left back, right back, inverted into central midfield. For a manager who wants tactical flexibility, Cancelo is basically a Swiss Army knife in football boots. Sport, who broke the details of the story, made a specific point about Barcelona prioritizing a left-footed central defender alongside the Cancelo deal. That tells you something about how Flick sees the defensive structure evolving. He's not just plugging a gap. He's thinking about how all the pieces fit together. Now, here's where the fairy tale gets complicated. Because nothing at Barcelona is ever straightforward. Is it? Cancelo currently has a contract at Al Hilal with 1 year remaining. For a permanent deal to happen, Barcelona needs him to terminate that contract. That means Cancelo essentially has to walk away from money that he is contractually owed. That is not a small thing. That is a real financial sacrifice. And then, on top of that, even if Cancelo does manage to terminate his Al Hilal deal, he would need to significantly lower his wage demands to make the move to Barcelona work financially. We all know Barcelona's financial situation has been complicated in recent years. The club has made enormous strides in cleaning up its books, but they are still operating within constraints. A player demanding top dollar, or in this case top euro, simply isn't going to fit into the equation. So what you're actually asking Joao Cancelo to do is walk away from his Saudi money, accept a lower salary at Barcelona, and bet on himself at 31 years old in one of the most competitive leagues in the world. That's a big ask. The question is whether Cancelo values that enough to make the financial sacrifice. And honestly, Based on what we're seeing from him on the pitch, based on the energy and commitment Flick is describing. Feels like he might. Now, Barcelona are not naive. They know this deal might not happen. Terminating a contract, renegotiating wages, convincing a 31-year-old to take a pay cut. There are a lot of moving parts, so they have a backup option. According to the report, a Bayer Leverkusen left-back is being monitored as an alternative. The fact that Barcelona has an alternative lined up is smart planning. It shows that Deco and Flick are working in sync. Here's the priority target, here's the fallback, here's the plan. That kind of joined-up thinking hasn't always been obvious at Barcelona in recent transfer windows, so it's actually reassuring to see it. But the emphasis, the report makes clear, is on Cancelo first. He's the priority. The Leverkusen option is there if needed, but the real desire is to keep the Portuguese international and build around him. And here's where the story takes another really interesting turn. Because signing Cancelo permanently doesn't happen in isolation. If he comes in as a genuine starter, and based on Flick's comments that seems to be the intention, then what does that mean for the current options at fullback? Jules Kounde and Alejandro Balde. Two players who began this season as the guaranteed starters on the right and left sides respectively. Two players who, let's be honest, have not performed to the level expected of them this year. And now the report tells us something significant. Barcelona will listen to offers for both Kounde and Balde this summer. That is a significant shift. It tells you that the frustration with their performances is real, not just noise. It tells you that Flick has assessed the situation and decided he needs different options, more flexibility, more reliability. And it tells you that Cancelo's presence, his positional versatility specifically, actually makes it easier to consider selling Kounde or Balde, because you're not left exposed if one of them goes. This is smart squad management if it works. Sell the players who haven't delivered. Reinvest in a proven operator who fits the manager's philosophy. Bring in a left-footed center-back to shore up the other need. Clean, logical, purposeful. The execution, as always with Barcelona, will be the tricky part. If Barcelona can get this summer right, if they can bring in Cancelo on sensible terms, add that left-footed center-back and make smart decisions on the exits for Kounde and Balde, then heading into next season they could look like a very different proposition. More balanced. More defensively secure. More dangerous on the... It won't be easy. It never is. But the pieces are there, the plan seems clear, and for the first time in a while, it feels like Barcelona's transfer strategy is being driven by genuine tactical logic rather than financial panic or media pressure. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. It genuinely helps the channel more than you know. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Cancelo is worth keeping? Can he maintain this form? And who do you want to see come in at center-back? Subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.